How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. It is Brad and Chibi today joining me. Jack is currently on a flight somewhere. Nobody knows, but Brad has something to say about that, don't you, Brad?
Story. Yeah.
Likely
Got a bone to pick with him, and that bone is a firing.
Done. Today we're going to talk about...
I'm not.
He's not going to fire me. Today we're going to talk about probably one of my favorite anime of the year, and that is Delicious in Dungeon, also known as Dungeon Meshi. This is, I think, probably one of the most anticipated for a lot of fans of the manga. It's very highly rated. It is out on Netflix. You can also watch it in other places that I will not name here, so I don't get, somehow get caught up in some random algorithm if this hits off. But
I was gonna say I found it somewhere else, but also cannot disclose where.
But I like to think that they've done a great job adapting this. I think this is fantastic. It is probably one of my favorite anime that I've watched in regard to world building. Like, it's actually insane how detailed this anime is. So I'm gonna start with Brad because I want like his overall take on it, because Brad actually watched every episode, which is shocking.
For once.
Thank you, Brad.
At double speed.
At double speed.
Oh, you know what? He still watched it.
They were saying something. I still know what they're talking about. Brad, how did you feel about Delicious in Dungeon?
It was delicious.
All right, moving on.
It was good and succulent.
So, can you not say it?
Now he's using big words.
Succulent is not a big word in the slightest. If you say that,
for Brad, it is, bro.
For
Brad, it is.
No, Brad is a massive nerd. Don't say that.
I'm joking. I know he's smart.
No,
Sheesh.
well, hold on. Don't say that.
Oh my god! Apparently, I can't say anything. So
Don't
go
say
ahead,
that about
Brad.
Brad.
I can't say anything.
I am a nerd, but I'm not smart. Got it. All right. Is there anything else I should know about myself?
Is there anything else I'm not allowed to say?
Have you guys ever played or done anything with Brad? Like, he comes off as the smartest dumb person you've ever met. He's Laios.
Like every smart.
He's
person.
literally Laios from Delicious in Dungeon.
I am tall man.
He is tall man.
No, it was good. I like the not so serious tone.
Mhm.
Right? That's my shtick. I like the goofiness. The comedic factor of pretty much everyone has their kind of moment to do something goofy or funny. But
Right.
there's also some serious moments that hit you in the feels, especially with the frogs. Because I'm a
That was
frog
brutal.
sympathizer.
That was a
Yeah.
brutal scene.
But yeah, no, it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I will probably watch the rest of the episodes eventually one day.
This man pulled a Mashal, right? Watched a couple episodes. Was like, this is my jam. And watch the rest of it. I think it's good
You
fantasy,
actually
though.
watched it, yeah. No, it was. Yeah, I agree.
No, Chibi, go ahead and go. What about you? How'd you feel about it so
No,
far?
I would agree. I liked the lightheartedness. Like Brad, I feel like we have similar like vibes with we like the kind of the goofier anime. I will say I got a little bored. I think in the middle, it just kind of felt like very repeated. He said, I don't know. I noticed myself zoning out a lot, but towards the end, I think it picked up a lot more for me, and I really enjoyed it.
That's probably one of the things that a lot of people have asked, by the way, about why it's not more highly rated on like all the other lists. It's because the very beginning of it, and this happened in the manga too, is that it's very deliberate and like trying to kind of isolate characters and world build with like the different characters. So like you get to meet like Cabral and his team. They're the group that died twice, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually very important characters throughout the entirety of the story.
I mean, I figured since they introduced them
Yeah.
like a couple times.
But like, I mean, you get introduced to like so many. But what's great is that they actually build up like the fantasy world, like the actual world itself, how certain aspects of the world work, the importance of like the dungeon's ecosystem, and then like how the dungeon actually came to be. And there's all these different discussions that occur during the anime, which I think are really good, especially like when they talk about like, hey, you can die, it's completely fine. Like your body's just,
I know,
your soul's just
so
attached.
interesting. I was like, huh? You can just die casually?
So the way they explained that, I actually thought it was going to be like a video game type thing.
Yeah.
It was like you die and you respawn, or they come pick you up and But because I was confused because I was waiting for them to like be like, okay, see you tomorrow, and then like log off or something, but it never happened. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay,
Whew.
so apparently this is just how it works.
I'll
Very
go
cool.
I'll go save my sister some other fucking time. I think that's the one thing that like people have kind of like, because Studio Trigger usually doesn't take many anime that don't get really serious in the end. I think they did Gurren Lagann, which was like lighthearted at first and then got
Oh,
very dark.
oh
And then
yeah.
they did Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which was like light and
Same
and they
thing,
got
yeah.
really heavy. And then with this one, it's like the moment we start getting into the world and we start understanding, like, and then you start seeing like animals getting killed, and you're
Yeah.
or, like creatures getting killed, and then characters getting killed. And you're like, what the fuck? Why is this so violent?
The chicken.
Yeah, it's like in a
Oh,
very comedic way, but it's like you're like wait a minute, why is this so violent, like you said?
when Namara gets headshotted, by the fucking
Oh my
Undine.
god, I gasped. I was like,
I was
They-
like, serves her right. That's all. I got.
Should have been roaming around with that gnome. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it does a really good job of like continuously world building. Like what I was telling Brad before, I was like, dude, one of the coolest things I saw was like when the dragon was like clicking its tongue to ignite the fire and stuff like that. I was like, that's awesome. And then also you had like the different spells that were being cast, like help each other out and save each other. I was like, I really like the fact that quick healing in this, if you're trying to repair some damage, it actually is very painful. And that
Yeah.
kind of makes sense because whenever you watch like an anime or manga when they're healing, it's like, well, I mean, you should be able to feel that, right? Unless it's like some type of
Refreshing.
salve. Yeah, it should be refreshing. And instead, you get that really cool scene with Senshi and Marcel. she's like, I'm not really good at healing long term, but I can do really quickly. And all
then
the
you just
sweat
hear-
drops have his face.
Yeah. The sound, it was a sound.
Brutal.
And like you see his leg get attached again.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like
Well, that's what I was
like
saying.
how it also left a scar too.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Is like there's it's shockingly violent at times and gruesome, and I was like, that's good fantasy though.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do a good job of like constantly having Senshi tell you all these different things about the dungeon, how you're supposed to fight, right, or how you're supposed to like kill an animal. I think my favorite thing was like him and the Kelpie, and like Laios is like straight up the most like, why is everyone not suspicious of mammals? I don't get it. And then the Kelpie tried to drown him anyway. I was like, holy
Oh, yeah.
shit, man. Was there so Chibi? Just before we got on, your standout episode, I'm assuming was 11, the most recent one, which I said was fantastic and probably the real jumping off point for the series. Because I will say this to people: there's only like 97 chapters of the manga, and they range in size. So some are like 35 pages, some are like 15. But like the thing about like once we got to this point in the manga, that's when everything just starts to fucking go. Like it goes very quickly. So what are your thoughts on episode 11, which is the most recent one, as of this recording?
Yeah, as of this recording, it really took me for a shock. So everyone expects her to be dead. Like no one expects her to be alive. But the thing is, like,
I did.
We're talking about Fallon, by the way. She's talking
we're talking about Fallon.
Laios'
I'm sorry.
sister.
I'm talking about his Laos' sister. Yeah. Well, how many days has it been? Like time-wise? Like what
It's
is
been a
this
couple
timeline?
weeks.
It's been weeks.
Yeah, it's been about
Okay.
a week
It
or
is
so,
a
yeah.
big ass dragon. And they even specified, like, maybe normally it doesn't digest fast, right? But there's a lot of different factors at play. It could have been moving a lot. It could have been doing all of these different things. So there was no concrete
Fiber.
answer. It's because I was reading a lot of the comments and people were like, how do they expect her to be alive? And it's like, no one expected her to be alive, but kind of with, the soul being attached to the body, right? That was kind of how the premise was. You can like revive them if they're mostly there, to my understanding, right?
Yeah.
If they're like, so as long as she wasn't completely like decomposed or like there wasn't a lot of parts missing, like they could still bring her back alive, and that was the hope. So when they're going through it, they can't find her at first. I'm like, shit, like did she escape? Like what happened? And then he has this genius idea to look, and I don't even know what fucking organ it was.
I think it's like where they store
The
where
other
It's like
stomach.
a reservoir.
yeah,
No,
it's like where they store.
second
It's like that little
For the
sack
fire
that the dragons
breathing,
like store
right?
their fuel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I think is another
Um,
great thing that they don't really showcase in a
Fuel
lot of fantasy
pouch.
stuff. Yeah, little fuel
Yeah.
pouch for.
A
Brad,
little fuel
that's why
pouch, yeah,
Brad's.
yeah.
That's why Brad is like. He's like, let me tell you something about this.
Let me tell you
Dragons
this, you guys.
generally.
Very common that
Scientifically
dragons have a fuel pouch.
fuel pen. But yeah, I was like, and they start sorting through it. I'm like, oh man. And then when they find her
Her staff.
her staff, and then he looks at her skull, and he's just holding it, and I just
And
like,
then,
oh
and then it immediately
man,
goes into happy music. We're like, yeah.
I like my heart just stopped. I
I
was
thought
like,
he was gonna kiss it.
no.
He's gonna kiss his sister's like bloody skull.
Why are you like this?
Why is he
Why are
like
you
that?
like this?
That's because that's how Brad plays D&D. That's how he plays Baldur's Gate 3.
Just kisses the forehead. No, but I mean, there was a foreshadowing because in the prior scene she's like, "Don't worry about me."
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
but
that whole
Yeah.
like scene leading up to it was like that's fantastic animation.
it was very
Yeah,
good.
I
It
like
gave me
it.
chills
I
for
like how
sure.
they knew they were fucked too. Like Jill Chuck's like, I guess we're just here now. It's where we live underneath the dragon's crotch. Like it's over for us. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then
but it definitely took a darker turn than I thought it was.
Oh yeah, like, it's a weird thing because like it's there's a show called Dohidoro and it's pretty graphic because like one of the main characters has like a lizard head. He has a reptile head, and he bites people's heads off to kind of like he's trying to figure out like who he is, and he bites people's heads off and like absorbs their memories and stuff like that, and consumes their brain and stuff. Very dark, right? But it's also incredibly funny and lighthearted at times. And like this is kind of the inverse, where you're watching a what seems like a really fun, like, oh, everyone's cooking, that's great, and then you're seeing like them like chop animals, like, oh shit, this is a little darker than I thought.
Yeah.
Like when they killed the frog, like that. Damn, I was like, oh my god, I thought it was hilarious when they literally convinced Marcel, and this is why like she's my favorite characters.
I was gonna say
all they had to say was like, it's like, look, you look really cute in it.
You look really cute in it, and she's like,
and
then it cuts to all of them in the suit. Oh
in
my
a
God.
frog suit.
She's like,
And
why
then
can't
she's
I
like,
take this
"The
off?
blood."
And Laios would not like he's not really detail oriented when he's doing stuff. So it was really funny when he's like, yeah, so like the blood dried up. I have to fight the red dragon like this. It's like,
I know, I love how she was like, we have to fight him like this, and he's like,
I just thought that whole episode was great because I wanted to see
like that one.
I knew that like Brad would have a good reaction to it because he just immediately messaged me. He's like, it's dark, what the fuck? I was like, it's great, right? You got to see like also the dub in this, by the way, is great, right? I think the sub and dub are great. Like his name's ProZD, Sungwon Cho. He's like he's a YouTuber voice actor. It's fantastic. Voices Senshi. He fucking crushes it in that scene where he's like trying to grab Laios' sword, Kensuke, and launches it.
Oh my god, his sword, bro.
I like, dude, straight honestly, Laios kind of deserves that shit for being obsessed with monsters and thinking that the monster wouldn't try to save itself. Like, well, what do you want me to do, bro?
Like, it's still a monster at the end of the day.
And I love how Chilchuk got up and started cursing him out in like other languages and stuff.
Yeah, there's no amount of words, like foul words.
And Laios' face is like, please don't yell at me in other languages, Chilchuk. I don't understand. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
That was good. I did like that scene.
Yeah, it's just it was like it's so well done in terms of like humor, horror, action. I don't think many people expected when Laios got launched to fucking like trap his leg within the dragon's mouth.
Dude, I definitely gasped at that too.
I honestly thought he was just gonna get swallowed. And
right,
like,
exactly. That's what I thought too. He's gonna stab him in the inside.
Yeah.
He's like, this ain't shit. Stabs his leg, and I was like, oh god. And then hangs there and stabs his throat. I was like, and by the way, I've noticed that in like a lot of like fantasy stuff, like that's usually like the dragon's weakest. There's like always one random scale. It's like the weirdest
inverted
thing.
Scale.
Yeah, one inverted scale. Calm down, Brad. All right, my bad, dude.
Scientifically speaking, it's an
You don't understand, bro.
According to the anatomy of an adult red dragon.
has one inverted scale.
That's what I love about Laios. Like he's so enthusiastic about all this stuff, except for like the living armor. It's like, can we eat it? Like, no. Even such he's like, what's wrong with you, man?
Technically, you could. I liked the episode a lot, though. I thought it was funny.
No, it's fantastic. Like I liked every episode, and I do admit like the pacing does draw down.
Like, but I get why. I get why.
And then immediately ramps up. I mean, like,
and then I just
every character and like everything. The thing is like you kind of have to. I'm not saying like it's probably best that you wait to binge at times because like, this is going to be a 24 episode season. I think that was confirmed because there's like characters you see early on that will make an appearance later, and things will start to make sense about certain questions you have about the dungeon. Why its existence, you know, some of the things that like happen there that are kind of weird, right? Like the way the monsters react and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll learn a lot. It's really well done. That's why it's rated so highly. But I was, you know, when people were like, "Oh, why is this, you know, not rated as highly?" I'm like, well, probably because it's slower than others, you know. And like like you said, Chibi, there's like parts of it where it's like we're just kind of building characters. You know, we're trying to get to learn about Laios, Chilchuk, Marcial, Senshi, and then you know, it like the pace quickens in terms of like plot development, but it also still like tries to, you know, throw in certain quirks, and there's a lot of callbacks too, which I think are great that they consistently do. So I wonder where the anime is going to stop, honestly, which is interesting.
Especially because you've read it, so you kind of know
Yeah,
what's happening next.
yeah, definitely. Brad, who is your favorite character, man?
Chilchuk, just because he has a phobia of mimics. And
oh, that was
so
a good
do
episode.
I. So.
Do you have a phobia of mimics?
Wait, do you really? You scared him?
It's horrible. No, I think Senshi is my favorite just because he has a very luscious beard.
Especially when
he gets it cleaned.
When he gets it cleaned, it just puffs out and stuff like that. And he's like, the soap is getting in my eyes. It's burning.
And I do like his dedication to finding rare metal and making it into a cooking utensil.
Dude, oh my. Adamantite and mithril. That was fucking funny as shit. What is this? Adamantite? It's like it's good for crushing bones of dragons and stuff like that.
He's like, well, it was a shield and it was useless to me.
So I made into a pot. I'm like,
into a pot.
Makes fucking sense, my guy. I love the fact, like, especially when like he brought up the mithril knife, and he was like, I always take care of it, and I'm like, dude, what? I was like, why would you? What do you need that for when you're gonna eventually, you know? I'm assuming they're gonna eat the dragon, right? I mean, we can all guess. They're gonna have to eat that damn thing.
It was funny. He was like, Laios was like, yeah, if you would have shown that to Namari, she would have definitely killed you for it.
He's like, that's why I didn't. That's why I didn't. Yeah, no, I like it. I think like Senshi is probably. I mean, he's actually kind of a mysterious character too, right? Like you just randomly show up, just like some random
with all this knowledge.
Yeah.
Like
you've like lived off the land essentially in the dungeon, which is crazy to me. Like
he is the Mad Mage.
He is the he practically is, dude. Like him taking the golems and stuff like that. And
dude, that shit was crazy. Yeah.
And then using them for like fucking was it for like his fresh food and stuff like that, his vegetables and stuff like that. I was like, dude, you
literally plants them.
Yeah. Like you're so like and everyone else thinks he's crazy. Marcial and Chilchuk are like, what the hell? But Laos is like, that's such dedication. that's so amazing.
He's like, same brain cell. He's like, I understand.
I get why you're doing this. Except for, you know, the time he was like, oh, can we eat leather? He's like, have you eaten leather before? No. What's wrong?
He's like, what kind of question is that?
Dude, it's so funny. Chibi, who's your favorite?
I would say either Senshi, and I'm not gonna lie, Marcel grew a lot on me. At first, I thought she was so annoying, but I like her quirky, like, personality, and she's just like the one that likes to no, that's not gonna work, and then
goes along with it.
You know, it just works. Yeah, I don't know. Like the frog scene solidified it for me. It fucking solidified it.
The Mandrake.
Was
the Mandrake made me so mad, but after that I started liking her.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's weird because she's like the only elf, right? I think, and generally elves in any type of like fantasy setting are usually like non-emotional, right? She's like,
and she is the complete opposite.
Yeah. She like hated eating monsters, and then she was completely fine with it. And she's obviously
when she knew
like,
it tasted good.
Pretty talented, you know, with some of her magic, but she's reckless as hell too with some of the stuff she does. So I think Marcel's fine. I just like Chilchuk.
Why do you not like her, Brad? Huh? Sorry, he was shaking his head at me.
Oh, because she's a brat.
Haters gonna hate, bro.
I mean, people will. I mean, literally, if you see how like any of the forums about, you know, Dungeon Meshi, a lot of people like didn't vibe with her during the anime, but like with the manga, people like gradually understood her and stuff like that. I
I
think
think that's kind of where I came with.
Maybe
Like,
one
I think
day.
as it progressed, I was like, okay, like, I get
Yeah.
it now.
well, I mean, it's crazy too because like you have to ask yourself like how Laios has survived this long, and I assume it's
Mhm.
because of Fallon. Like it has to
Mhm.
be. Like I like Laios, but he's a fucking psychopath. Like
Yeah,
that
he
man is insane, and like he's also like I know that who said that like was it Amari that said like tall men aren't really that strong even like I mean that's dwarves are way stronger than humans, but it was like I was like, well, Laios was pretty fucking strong when he caught like Marcel from that like one platform in episode 11 when he was like hanging
Mm.
off the edge and shit. I was like, dear God, dude. I mean, he's selfless. He's also dumb and gets into a ton of trouble by doing a bunch of weird shit. I just like how enthusiastic he is about everything, right?
Yeah.
When Senshi
Mhm.
comes up with like a really cool idea to fend off ghosts and stuff like that, taking holy water, attaching it to a rope, and just swinging it around. I also like how whimsical that looked, by the way, when he was like, so he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I want to do that too. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude, man?
Yeah. Especially like with the knowledge that his sister has been eaten too. I
Well,
like how he tries to keep
every
up the
every
motivation.
flashback of Fallon also kind of gives kind of an idea like how they're kind of the same person. Like they're
Mhm.
both very aloof. Like I don't think
Yeah,
they
I was
would
gonna
have.
say Fallon's like an airhead, bro.
Yeah, they would have not have survived if they weren't together, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they would have gotten killed if they weren't together because you could tell like the dude is just like a complete dunce at times. He has no social skills,
Mhm.
right? He's constantly positive. He wants to be everyone's best friend. Like when they were talking about like when the group broke up and they were asking
Mhm.
Namari like, hey, have you seen Shuro? He's a samurai. And they're
Mhm.
like, have you seen Shuro? He's like, nah, but I'm surprised he kind of left because he was in love with Fallon. And he's like, what?
What?
He's in love with Fallon? He's like, yeah, dude, how do you not know you're next to us the entire time? He's like, oh, yeah. Like, they didn't know how old Chilchuck was, right?
Dude, that was funny. He was
Him?
like, how do you say? He was like, I'm 29. And
Yeah.
they were like, baby.
And that's kind of weird, too, because, like, what elves are usually, a couple hundred years old.
Barely.
Dwarves lived a couple hundred years, too, right, Brett, I think?
She's half elf, by the way.
She's half elf?
Yeah.
You're on the wiki.
Sheesh. I am on the wiki.
I knew it. Don't get on there.
Making sure I have the names.
You're gonna
the-
spoil that stuff, brother.
Well, I've already spoiled it for myself. I'm gonna ask you
Yeah.
after the episode.
I actually like the beginning where he's narrating the dragon fight.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
He's like, if only we had one more ration of food, maybe this fight would have went a different way.
Here's the thing. He was right.
Yeah.
Because when they fought the dragon, they were fucking well fed and they were able to actually commit to their
Have the
plan.
energy.
Only lose a limb.
Yeah. Only lose his leg.
And not their life.
Having Chilchuck get his fucking or having Senshi get stomped on by the dragon and having Chilchuck get hit by falling debris. It's a win, bro.
Man had a fucking head concussion.
Oh,
Speaking of hungry, the whole time I was watching the show made me fucking hungry.
Made you hungry to eat?
I wanted to eat.
Some of the
I
monsters.
wanted to eat
the kelpie.
No, it just made me want to eat anything. I was like, dang, this looks good.
Dude,
I'm
once
hungry.
again, I think that Japanese artists in anime, dude, they make some fucking good looking food. It is ridiculous.
Half the time it didn't look that great.
What?
It
You're
did
insane. It did look good.
It looked too colorful.
Too colorful. I mean, they were killing certain creatures, you know.
Well, the like jewelry bugs.
Oh, dude, no, never.
No, that was like the only one. But
Here's my question, Brad. Like, if you were
Skittles,
if you had that, if you were in a dungeon, right, running low on rations, would you cook monsters that you killed? Even though it's like something that's
only
probably
the
never crossed your
humanoid
mind.
kind.
Even though, so you're a psychopath. Like, we need to have conversations.
All right, not gonna be in Brad's party
Ever. I mean, you might survive. Brad was like your.
I
mean, a lot of people may get maimed or whatever, but he'd have like a good healer, right? Brad's not. He's not that guy.
Would you be a healer, Brad? What would your role be?
Yeah, what would you be?
Exactly what I would be.
You'd be like a dark mage. Be like a
I would
warlock.
be a necromancer. I would wait for you to die and then bring you
Fucking
back
hell.
Dude, what are you talking about? You brought back.
What do you mean? I did my job.
a necromancer is just a late healer. That's all.
Nothing hurts. I know, resurrection spell. You're doing
I've never
great.
thought of it that way. Never thought of it that way.
You're doing great, buddy. I I think the biggest draw for me in this is like the details. I've usually like when a lot of anime, like, sometimes they go into like longed like monologues and stuff like that, but it's never like relevant to what's happening. It's like relevant to a fight. It's like they're talking, planning, and then explaining like how the dungeon works and stuff like that. And Senshi does it as he's like explaining how to cut and grill and fillet and all that stuff like that. Like all of it makes sense, you know. And then like it actually pays off the more you know. So like Laios may be like this really encyclopedia, but it's like everything he says actually works and makes sense in like the dungeon and how quickly they learn. It's really funny that Chilchuck, who fucking hates all the like random knowledge, starts to spout it off and starts to know it too. So like everyone's affected by Laios just being there. That's like my favorite part of this. Is once they start getting committed to it, Laios
I do not need a random.
Yeah, I don't need a random fact.
Random fact.
Like literally in the like with the dragons, like, did you guys know? Fun fact: red dragons run up to 60 kilometers. I'm like, bro, who fucking cares?
Who cares?
We're about to get eaten. I just love that, dude. And also, like, bro, you said like what you thought was a baby red dragon. Was it because of how it wobbled around, how goofy it looked? It was like, that was my favorite part. How wobbly it was. It's like, how uncoordinated they were and stuff like that.
Did it have wings?
Mm-mm. No, so that's the interesting thing.
So it's not a dragon.
I don't know. Maybe you might be right.
Remember.
Oh, it's interesting. Like
Drake.
When they start introducing other monsters, they really go into good detail. That's one of the things I really like. Is that
fun fact about dragons?
Go ahead.
Scientifically speaking,
dragons have 4 legs and 2 wings. Drakes have four legs, no wings. A wyvern has 2 legs and wings. A worm has no legs and wings.
I knew 2 of the 4 things.
I knew about those. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you about the worm in particular. I didn't know that one.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it's just the details that come up from this.
They explain things that are just kind of common knowledge in other like fantasy, like healing, right? They say, oh, healing's actually not just a thing that happens. There's a consequence to it.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Which is interesting because like, when was it Marcel pissed off the Undine, tried to blow it up, took like a lot of damage, obviously tried to like, heal herself and then ran out of mana. I was like, talk about that, I was like, there's good details like with it. So there's actual consequences. Like it's not just one of those anime you see like someone just get randomly healed. Like in most isekai, they're like, all right, you're good, bro. It's like, I feel great. It's like, dude, there's got to be like some
drink a potion.
Like if I
like what's the realism here?
Pop a potion here. Yeah. No, like that's the interesting part is that like, especially when you start getting like deeper into the manga and like the next episode, I promise you, Brad's probably gonna be like, why the fuck? What the fuck just happened? And that's going to continue to happen.
My guess is that in a fit of rage, Laios is going to try to eat the dragon for eating his sister. And he's going to get a stomach ache.
A stomach ache, and he's going to be done. My tummy hurts.
Done in the dungeon.
Done in the dungeon.
Not delicious.
It's just, it's like the name throws you off like delicious and dungeon, right? The thing is like all of what's happening here, which you learn early, is actually relevant throughout the entire thing. And like you learn that Laios, like I said, it's probably someone you would not normally follow to do anything, is actually super useful. And while his party was like, what the fuck's wrong with this dude? Like he just likes food, man. He thinks that food is going to bring everyone together. And then he actually ends up with a party. Yeah. He ends up with a party that like feels the same way. It's really interesting watching every character grow. Especially when I was reading the manga, I was like, there's actual like legitimate growth. Like there's nothing, in my opinion, that's kind of wasted. Because when you have like limited series, the thing you have to nail is, you have to nail growth. Characters can't stay stagnant. You have to continuously push the plot. And I think that like Chainsaw Man's doing it, Delicious in Dungeon does it, Frieren does it. It's one of those things where it's like it's consistently good. And I just like I'm wondering if the eventual score overall for the series is going to go up, because I think people kind of saw the potential in episode 11 and went, holy shit, this legit.
Yeah, I think if they just let it ride a little bit, I could see it going up for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's going to remain, because Trigger is a very good studio. They're great, but I wonder if like they're going to maintain that same consistency, because the shit that they were pulling off in episode 11 was like movie level quality stuff. Like when they showed like Senshi like pulling up the sword, throwing the sword, you get like a quick flash to like Kensuke's eyes, like, or whatever, his tendrils like lifting up, and then fucking it clipping off the foot of Laios to catch it. I was like, that's fantastic, right?
I had to watch it again.
Yeah, I love that shit.
I like when he stood on the pot and Marcel.
He's like, you're gonna use explosive magic. You're gonna fire me up there. She's like, what? He's like, yeah,
I have an idea.
You heard me.
I have an idea. It may not look like a good one, but
it's
it might work out. I love the fact that like the dragon gets hit in the eye. It's like all that, like how big the droplets of blood were. That was a really cool detail. I was like, oh my god. And like they like I said, they don't skimp out on the gore. Like when enemies are getting killed, it's like, Jesus Christ, that's...
Bro, when they carved out the dragon, I was like, ugh.
Yeah. I like the fact that the mithril knife could cut through all that. That was pretty impressive. Like it looked like, I know he's probably exerting more effort, right? But it looked like he was just like,
like a butter knife.
I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, Senshi, you've been holding out on us, man. Like, what's going on, brother? You just get to learn more about the characters, the world, how stuff works, and I think it's going to be pretty eye-opening. And like, surprisingly, they don't botch it. I think that's like the best thing. If like you're someone who read the manga, like you'll know that they didn't botch this, which is really shocking, because when they get into like the big revelations in this, dude, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna kind of twist all this and bring it all together, but they do it perfectly. And so that's
I'm interested to see how it's gonna go, because I haven't read it. So I'm really interested to see.
Yeah, I'm just it like became one of my most anticipated, because I was curious to see like how Trigger was going to animate it, because it's very detailed. And surprisingly, like almost everything they do is really detailed. From like the way the characters animate on certain areas and stuff like that. Like when Laios, Chilchuck, ran into what were they? Were they sirens and stuff?
Oh,
and Laios starts singing like super loud.
Dude, that shit was so funny.
The sirens got
I love
angry.
that. I forgot about that. I forgot about that part. I loved that part because I was like, damn, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me trying to sing.
So good. It's like, oh, they let me finish. It's like, dude.
It's like, dude.
Fighting the Kraken, right? That was freaking, like, all that stuff is really well done. Like, I'm shocked by the kind of commitment to animation. Like, recently we've seen a number of anime like crush it.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have caught up on Frieren. There's an episode 26. It's called The Height of Magic. And it might feature like some legit on par with like One Punch Man when he fought like the final enemy. You remember that, Brad? I think you watched it, right? When we fight the final guy, I think final episode. Yeah. Like they pull some crazy shit, and I was like, wait a second.
No, what's going on?
I know Madhouse is like great because most of the time, like there's just like really, they're subtle with like the animations in Frieren, but man, and then here with like Trigger, it's like they flex a lot when they started cooking and started like cutting through like certain monsters and stuff, and I was like, dude, we're getting it. Is there anything you're curious about, Brad, in terms of like the world itself? In Delicious in Dungeon.
Dun dun.
Those damn elves that
in the world. Well, I mean, I'm sure the like the dungeon stuff will explain. So I mean, it's just a magical charm or spell or whatever. So I don't think so. It's I will say the like elves and dwarves, fighting. That's a pretty typical
fantasy
trope. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of par for the course.
It's kind of weird that the guy who's a gnome is really tall, right? Like they usually aren't gnomes like very tiny.
They're typically
what, knee height?
As small as the plants in my front garden. So
how big is this fucking garden is, dude?
Almost 8 foot. So
oh jeez.
Hello.
Nothing you're curious about. You're just like just cool with the ride.
Well, because Fallon's dead, so I mean, I just assume that's the end of the story. that everyone's just
I'm
gonna
telling you, bro, they have to do that in every fucking anime. So it's just like in JJK when Yuji got killed, rips his own heart out, and they're like, "Hey, happy music," and everybody starts dancing and shit. And the same thing happened. The same thing when he's like holding Fallon's skull. He's like Fallon, and it's like the dark music, and then it cuts off, and it's like happy music. I'm like,
Dude, I was so upset. My mouth was open. I was like, I can't believe this.
a lot of people were shocked because I think
I
a
hope
lot.
she,
Yeah.
I hope he uses her skull as like a medallion for necklace or something.
Make a necklace out of it. It's
Just
gonna be his new helmet.
Just hardcore. It's what I'm talking about. Don't talk to me, mom. Dyes his hair black. And
Oh
stuff like
my
that.
god.
She is always with me.
And ass sent you. Let me get some beard locks, dude, and put over my eyes like
Oh
that.
my god.
Don't talk to me. Did you guys
Don't
know?
talk to me.
What about you, Chibi? Is there anything you're curious about, like where the story goes, or anything like you've seen in the world that you're curious about? Any character?
I mean, it's kind of like what Brad was saying. I'm curious more so about like the dungeon itself,
Mhm.
but like I know that'll come with time. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And
All
I
things will
kind
be
of
answered.
I kind of know the answer to this one, but just for argument's sake and discussion's sake,
Hmm.
I'm kind of curious as to where they're going to go plot wise after discovering Fallon. Like, what's the next big, plot point? Because the whole
Dragon
thing
Slayer.
of this was
Dragon's
trying to
Dogma
find her
2.
and save her. Like, like is all hope lost? Are we moving on to redemption arc where we're trying to heal and
Oh,
continue on with our story?
everybody just gets kumbaya hugging and stuff like that. We do Beyond the Journey, so it's Frieren.
Listen, I like
it shoots to the overworld and it shows Frieren just walking around with a staff.
Listen, I like to have optimism, even though again I kind of know what is going to transpire.
I knew you'd be curious once it ended on that cliffhanger. I knew it.
I bet.
Well,
they
I
just
was
move on.
an accident. I read the comment and someone said something, and I said, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah,
I was so mad. I was like, "No!"
It's
It was
so
never live to begin with.
And it made me not want to read it, honestly, or keep watching it. I'm not gonna lie.
dead, bro. It's
We're
the Sixth
actually
Sense.
in a simulation. This is
someone's
this
gonna.
is SAO.
That would
He was
be
eating
funny
the
if the
brain.
next episode he's like just takes off his goggles. Well, that was
Yeah.
shocking.
That was absolutely bonkers.
Gets off the game.
He was actually eating the brains
Mom.
of a monster, and
Oh.
this is just all the memories of that.
Oh, dude, that'd be terrifying. What is that from? I've seen that in a couple of things where like they eat the monster's like brain or something, and
So
then, like, they absorb the
yeah,
memories.
so in Divinity Original Sin 2, it's a vampire thing.
Yes.
You eat the brains and you get the memory.
Yum. Yeah, no, I think for the most part, I mean, where it goes, honestly, is like there's yeah, I think that the bigger overall mystery is the dungeon itself,
Mhm.
right? They've reached a level I don't think they've ever reached before, right? Because it's a fallen kingdom, essentially. There's like the elves built this. Why did they abandon it? Why did they sell it?
What level are they on technically? I forgot.
5, I think they said.
5.
I think they said
Yeah.
5 because the orcs were there. Was it the
Yeah.
orcs or the wargs? Brad, I can't remember what they said.
It works.
It was orcs,
I
yeah.
think it was
Because the gnome guy was like, they've pretty much picked levels 1 through 3 clean. Pretty much
Yeah,
nothing there.
that was like interesting because like they, the gnome when he had the conversation with I can't remember what the guy's name is, but that they have the conversation. They're discussing like the elves arriving and stuff like that, and him writing the letter to like delay them and stuff like that. I was like, why would you do that? Why does this matter? What is the dungeon ultimately like hiding? That type of stuff, right? That's why like when I went back, I was like, oh my god, yeah, I totally forgot about all this stuff because it's been like a year. I was like, oh, this shit's.
When did the
fucking deep.
sorry to cut you off. When did the manga come out?
I think it was like 2017, something like that.
Oh, okay, so like
yeah.
relatively new.
Yeah. Well, like once again, it's one of those manga that like was under 100 chapters,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people.
Wait, is it like finished?
97.
Yeah, 97 chapters.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay.
A lot of people were wondering. Like I'm telling you, like I love the ending too. The ending makes so much fucking sense. Like
Interesting.
if you probably like if I would probably tell anyone don't go into
I
the
feel like
comments.
I'm gonna read it.
Don't go into the comments of anything. Primarily because if you do,
Don't.
people will
You're gonna be like
spoil
me.
like how the actual dungeon is, like the actual dynamics of it, and it gets fucking twisted.
Fallon was all of us.
Fallon was all of us. Fallon was that's how they ended. It's like, maybe it was the Fallon we made along the way, bro.
All the Fallons we made.
And just dip, But no, I mean, there's the thing that I was telling Brad is that I love the fact that there's different fantasy elements that I really feel like are unique to this show. That I think, we've seen enough, like the way like a dragon operates or how like certain monsters operate, but like with Senshi there, Senshi will tell you like this is how it works. And then if he doesn't know, Laios kind of comes in and will tell you like, no, this is how, this is how they attack, this is how like they move around, they're here, their weak spots, and the ability to craft their own fantasy world. That's what I'm saying. Like it was slow on purpose because it wanted to kind of, at least teach you, how this world operates in comparison to others. Because most isekais are like, I'm overpowered, I know a lot of magic, I can do stuff with like incantations.
Good.
We haven't
That's fun.
we've seen like basic magic, right? We just haven't seen like, what would dark magic look like? What would blood magic look like? That type of stuff. Like, how is it represented here? Because it has to come out, right? They found themselves in like several situations where you're like, I think when she was fighting with the Undine, it really felt like she was going to do something desperate. You know what I mean? Because she's not, it's clear like there's got to be something curious about the fact that like you have this mage, super talented, and it's not proficient in healing magic in the slightest. At all. We saw Chilchuck get up and pretty much straight curse, bro. Motherfucker. As he's get up grabbing his head. And then Senchi's like, so like, he seems to be in more pain now than he was before. That's what fast healing does. I'm like, Jesus. So there's different, Oh, good.
I was saying, also, this goes back to the detail thing. I'm also curious about the ecosystem because they describe like how, adventurers kill the monsters feed other monsters. If there are no adventurers, then they overrun the town, so they hire more adventurers to kill. Now, my question is if they've wiped out the first 3 floors of the dungeon, what's feeding the 4th and 5th level of the dungeon, and why the adventurers aren't um, doing more kill everything all the time, right? Like group together as a full guild and just wipe everything out instead of.
It's a good point. I mean, I think because of the dangers. Because
Yeah.
I think like unlike a lot of because usually when you have like fantasy anime, like I said, there's like some really overpowered characters. There's really no one like that here, right? I think everyone has like a.
Did you see Laos' sword?
You see Kensuke?
Kensuke.
I think there's like legit weaknesses, like with every monster, and I think a lot of adventurers probably go in for like the treasure and stuff like that. And it's like the treasure bugs. That was hilarious. And Senchi's like, you can't eat these. And like they just throw it. It's like, well, you can't. Why can't we eat those? Like, oh, you can't eat treasure. He just stares at him. I just think that that's like something that's really interesting is that you haven't seen like a really OP character, right? Like everyone's on a
Everyone
level
feels
playing field
balanced.
practically, right?
I don't know.
Like who's the OP character? Is it Senshi?
Senshi.
I mean, he's
obviously.
his knowledge.
Knowledge-wise, yeah.
Like he's like, oh, you're a living thing. We're going to eat you, and then he just knows how to eat you.
Let me eat
He's
these.
like, already know.
And how to make it tasty.
Yeah. Let me eat these here mushrooms. You just cut their feet off.
Oh my god, dude! That I remember the first episode. I was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
He's like, you cut them long ways.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. Like the world building is so well done here that you call if someone would have said details in dungeon, you call it detailed in dungeon. I'd be like, hell yeah, it is, dude. Holy shit. There's you can
look delicious in dungeon.
You can learn, and like the thing is like there's unlike most anime where it's like we've roamed the dungeon in like an hour to reach like level 18 or something. It's like, dude, it took us fucking a week to get to level 5.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like
slow.
And on top of that, he was also saying shit like, Chilchuck was like, look, if we had to navigate any other way, it would have taken us like 2 weeks. But they tried to get them there as quickly as possible. He was like navigating traps. And then like they actually gave like one of my favorite things was like when Chilchuck was describing like traps and stuff like that, where he was like, this is how like certain mechanisms work, this is how like they're being fed into. I'm like, dude, I have not seen many shows or any medium rather that actually goes into that type of detail about what this character like actually knows. So the fact that every character is really knowledgeable and is willing to impart that knowledge, I think it's just fascinating. I just think that it's like it really took me by surprise with how detailed this was, because it was I mean, there's a lot of details in the manga, and sometimes that shit doesn't translate over. You know that, Chibi. Like sometimes you're like, are we skipping out on stuff? But here it's like things are relevant, and it's not like you know, one of the things I fucking hate the most is the one trope I think they've kind of avoided a lot is like the inner monologues about certain things.
Yeah.
While things are happening, it's like Laios only has that like when he's like legitimately in fucking danger.
Which makes sense. Like that one, I feel like I wouldn't complain about when they're like about to die or like, you know, in danger. Like, of course you're gonna have an inner monologue. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But also, I see Laios as like I see like their party as relatable. Right, I really do. I see Laios as like that one guy. You're just like, dude, like he's panicking, but as he's panicking, he's imparting knowledge.
He's the fearless leader.
I don't know. There's fear, mostly of him going starving, dude. When they're fighting the living armor, he's like, "What's in that?" It's like, "You think we can eat it?" It's like, dude, why would you even assume that when everyone's getting attacked?
It's like, sir, have you eaten a day in your life?
I mean, granted, they do make like a sorbet out of ghosts.
That was so good, dude. I love that so much. Oh, it's sweet.
I'm pretty sure
they
could find. I'm sure they could find something out of the living.
The fact that they're like, you got holy water, and he just starts like mixing everything together. Like, what are you doing? He's like, don't worry. And dude, once again, instead of throwing the holy water onto the ghosts, they just pass through, and they fucking get affected that way. I thought that's a fantastic detail. Also, if you didn't notice, when like before Marcial like shot Laios forward into the red dragon, he taped his hand with Kensuke. So Kensuke couldn't escape. And also, he wouldn't drop his sword when he grabbed onto the dragon. That shit, I was like, oh shit, that's a great detail. So, it's just one of those anime that really took me by surprise. And I really wanted Jack to talk about it too, because I knew Jack would like this one.
Too bad.
Yeah, unfortunate, bro.
He flying somewhere, boys.
We'll get his opinion next time.
or
not.
We won't.
Please don't say that. Or we won't.
Ungoddamn fortunate. Okay, so
I'm pretty sure he was something like something. She wasn't pretty enough. Something. That food looked good. Something. Going to bed now.
What the fuck?
He like cooked food and like I want a cookbook. Thank you, Jack. All right then.
I mean, but I too would like a cookbook.
They didn't make lumpia, so it's not worth watching.
I don't get it. Yeah, anime.
Yeah, anime. Lil Lumpia out.
Lil Lumpia out. He actually exits fucking the wrong way anyway.
Sorry.
All right, so that I think like it's surprising we've all agreed that we all like it. Which Brad liked it. That was my win. My win is to get Brad to like an anime, right? We got Mashal. We got, Delicious in Dungeon. I wanted to do Konosuba, but I was like, Konosuba is a bit too ecchi at times. It's very funny, but it's like...
I fucking started it. I was like 4 episodes in, and I was like, what in the fan service is this?
You have to watch the dub.
I know.
The dub is so good, dude. And like the best part about it is that they really had fun. Especially season 2. Like where they do a couple things where like as characters are talking, they'll like interrupt them while they're like monologuing or having dialogue and shit like that. Like, that's me. That's my name. Like, what is like, yep, this is gonna happen. They're all like very self-aware stuff. It's very funny. But yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
So I mentioned, this was last week, I think. I mentioned to two coworkers. I was like, yeah, we're supposed to be watching this anime called Yakisoba. They were like, what? I was like, yeah, it was like yakisoba or something, like some type of noodles. And then one guy was like, you mean
Konosuba?
I was like, yeah, that sounds close enough. He goes, all right, that's a weird one. I'm curious. I don't know if you know what that's about, but you don't want to know.
It's very funny. And there's like a bunch of it's just like so well done in like certain like comedic like takes and stuff like that. I really like it. But yeah, Delicious in Dungeon, I was like, Brad would like this. I think everyone would. So being 2 for 2 feels good, right? Not having someone choose Black Clover. Me watching like, can't do it. Oh, Ass is screaming again. Jealous. What will I fucking do? What will I do with Ass is screaming for the next 30 fucking minutes of the show?
A lot.
So, Chibi, what are we watching next? What do you got for me?
I was thinking because I am really enjoying right now Shangri-La Frontier.
Yep.
I'd say, Brad, have you even heard of that? Have
You
you
will
watched?
really like
Yeah, it's the
Shangri-La
bird
Frontier.
head.
Yeah, the bird head.
Yeah, well, have you watched
No,
any
if you
of
tell
it?
if you tell
No.
Brad right now, like I told Brad, I was like, Brad, yeah, it's a helmet. He's like, nope, it's his head.
Brad, it
Yeah,
is
it's
actually.
canon.
I really think Brad would like it. That's why I'm kind of like pivoting towards this more than making you guys watch Haikyuu. So I want to do.
If we
I
watch
want to do.
Haikyuu,
Mm-hmm.
if we watch Haikyuu, like it's got to
Jack's not
be.
invited.
Jack won't show up, dude. He'll find a way to get out of it. But if we watch Haikyuu,
He'll
it's
be
got to
on
be.
another flight.
I think 12. I think 12 episodes. I think 12 episodes would be like the
No,
sweet
I
spot.
know.
Unless
No.
unless
I
get hooked onto
wouldn't.
it.
I wouldn't make you guys watch fucking 5 seasons of it.
Is
But
it
for
really 5
Shangri-La,
seasons?
I don't know. It's like it's a lot.
Shangri-La Frontier is 22 episodes currently. I
So,
think.
but I don't want to make you watch all
Well,
22.
too bad. I'm watching all 22 right now.
He would.
I know you won't.
No. I'm telling you, he's gonna really like. Probably
I
the
think
first
he
couple
will like this
episodes.
one a lot.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a meme too. I was like, what is this bird head? The opening is one of my favorite openings. The characters are hilarious. I feel like it's so relatable, especially as a gamer. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a better SAO.
It's that a lot of people have said that too.
Yeah.
Like it's just I think it's
No,
better
it's
developed than SAO, and like it
Yeah.
doesn't have any. This is not to be.
It's not weird. It's not
I-
etchy. You know.
I don't want to fuck it up, but like SAO had that problem where it was like it was too self-serious at times.
Yeah, this one's
And
just funny.
Shangri-La is just like a fun time with a very
Come on, Rabbituza, bro. That's
and he's not like and the main character is not like super overpowered per se, like in the
No.
world. He's just fucking super skilled, like a
yeah.
very skilled
He has a
gamer.
lot of knowledge that he brings in from other games, and also he's so
Mashal.
determined.
Yeah, man. Yo,
Yeah, man.
by the way, watch the
good.
rest of fucking Mashal because holy shit,
I
that
need to.
that whole arc season 2 was fantastic.
Is it?
My goodness,
All
that
right.
was. There's some really
Mashal
funny.
becomes Smashal.
No, essentially, yeah, he starts beating the shit
Oh
out of
my
people
god.
in like the best way. It's so good. I thought and it also features like one of the best OPs this year. Which, by the way,
it's really good.
Dungeon, Delicious in Dungeon, I love its OP. I don't skip that
OP's
shit.
pretty good.
I don't skip
OP.
that. Yeah, opening credits.
Oh,
The song. I don't skip it. That shit is fantastic.
Overture.
Overture. Stop it. Stop it.
Or I'll put it in the chat. So check.
Shangri-La. And then, it's Brad then. Brad's after that, right? I'll be curious. to
Is
Oh
it
see
yeah,
what Brad
because
does.
Jack's yeah.
Jack had 3 chances, so we're skipping over. He gets to get skipped over because he fucked that up. Yeah, my next one will probably be Undead Murder Farce, which was it's 12 episodes long. Crunchyroll, highly rated last season, fantastic show, really smart, really fun, and surprisingly gory. There's like some scenes where I was like, holy shit, like y'all were joking around. Why did that person get torn to ribbons? What's happening? So
I'm gonna pick solo leveling.
Ooh. I like it.
I have the worst opinion on that one, man.
I
like,
cannot believe
do.
it. You still don't like it?
You know what it
Have
is?
you-
You know what it is, honestly? I think
What?
because
You have no taste.
when did the manhwa come out? It was a couple years ago,
A
right?
long time ago, yeah.
I think because it took so long to get adapted.
You think?
It was like 3 years, right? Didn't they say didn't they say it was in development for a couple years and stuff
Dude,
like
I
that?
have no idea.
I think in that time there have been so many kind of overpowered protagonist anime that even though I love the animation in it, dude, I find it just not interesting in the slightest.
Oh, I love it.
The characters are fantastic. I'm being honest. Like I really
Yeah.
think like the level of like detail and the fight, but dude, it's not like I keep saying it's not interesting if a character is not challenged. Right? If a protagonist is not challenged, like
I could debate this with you, but
it's just hard for me to kind of get invested in this character when they're just the most powerful character and it feels like no one's really challenging him at the time. And I know that's early.
let it
but
cook. Let it cook. Let
I-
it cook.
it's really hard because I've watched every episode and I'm just like,
But the thing is, he started off
but
the worst hunter.
But what I've told you is like there have been so many anime like that. There have been so many
right,
adaptations.
I guess we won't do solo leveling.
no,
We've
we-
already talked about it for way too long now.
Relax.
I would like Jack's opinion on it.
Oh, Jack will love it. He'd be like, oh,
And I think we need to let a couple more episodes come out so he can change his mind, because I think once you see
it takes a lot. I'm telling you, I'm very stubborn about certain things.
I can fucking
Like,
tell.
I mean, it's generally what it is. Chibi's like, I have like an issue if like I've seen similar.
I mean, I get it. I
I'm
guess
just like,
because I read it when it
No,
first came out.
I've
So
talked to
I'm
people
like, I
who are
love it.
like super hyped up to get the adaptation, but like by the time I got onto Solo Leveling, I think I was just like past that point. That was the thing.
I mean, like, again, I get it, because I don't watch a lot of shows like this. You know, I trash it like this. So this was the first one that I actually like.
That's because everyone has like a
enjoyed.
6-pack in it. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's just like muscular and shit like that.
Me too.
Me too.
He said,
I'm sorry, I couldn't tell what you were doing.
Sorry. Let
Yeah.
me.
I was gonna say you turned up your light. It's kind of sussy, bro.
But no, I do want to talk like briefly before we get off this, like how the season has gone. Like it's been pretty good, honestly. I think Solo Leveling, obviously, but Frieren is, man, this whole second the last 12 episodes have been fantastic. A lot of people have been talking about it. So Apothecary Diaries too.
I was gonna say Apothecary Diaries has been going
It's a
off.
fantastic
honestly.
show.
I think they've done amazing the last couple like seasons with anime in general. I feel like
we're getting like
we're seeing a lot of diversity.
We're getting peak adaptations. A lot of people wanted to see Shangri-La Frontier. They really did. Like people were talking about it, and I remember people hyping up being like, "Don't watch SAO, bro. Watch this." I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
And I was like, "Holy shit, this is really good." Because
I thought me first episode.
Yeah, I think Sword Art Online was like, it was like I think its problem was like it was nerdy, right? But it was also like melodramatic.
Yeah.
And then it was so serious, and you're like, it's a fucking game. Why is everyone dying in this game? Why?
Yeah.
And then it was Shangri-La Frontier. He's like, dude, I like trash games, and I'm also big into this one. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's a psychopath.
I love him though.
MMO stuff, right? I just think this has been a really good, season. And then there's a couple things coming out, but yeah, I'll listen, I'll give Solo Leveling a chance. I don't know how much longer.
Did you read it all?
Mm-mm.
Or you didn't read it at all?
I didn't read anything like relating to like manhwa, because also here's annoying about
you read the cover and he was like, nope.
It's because I think like the way I've been kind of disappointed with like how certain adaptations have gone. Like
I mean, I did, because Tower of God, I liked the beginning, and then I don't know, it just dropped for me. Same thing with the fighting one.
Oh, High School something, King of High School or something like that. There's another one that's going to be adapted eventually. It's like a class A3 or some shit. Like it's a fighting one, but like the thing I've learned about manhwa is like, one, the animation, the styles tend to kind of blend into one another, and then two, they're so fucking edgy sometimes that I'm like, come on, man, like let's get some humor into it. We don't have to be so goddamn serious.
Yeah, you might not like Soul Leveling. There's not a lot of humor.
No, I know, I've seen it. Like I'm just saying,
I'm gonna hate it, but I'm still gonna watch it.
I don't know.
It's good for debate. You know what I mean?
I can't explain why I resonate with it so much. Like I don't know. I love it.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Next Pixelate Thoughts episode, Brad. I want to talk to Brad about doing this one. I don't know, because Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out on Friday. Brad's getting it. I'm playing it. Chibi, I don't. You might like it. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever even heard of that series. Me and Brad have concerns because like people are trying to play it off as like this mainstream game. Like you might feel left out. You might get some FOMO because apparently previews for the game are talking about like how it's like Elden Ring, like a generational type title, right? But here's the thing: the first Dragon's Dogma was fantastic. It was not a mainstream title in the slightest. And so me and Brad had a conversation about this. We're like, I don't know if people are gonna like really like this game, because I know like reviewers are gonna love it, like people who critique things naturally, and me and Brad are probably gonna love it because like I don't know if you've seen the detailed like character creator. They created people out of Dungeon Meshi on it. Like someone actually created Senshi and Laios in them.
Oh shit!
It was fantastic. No, it's very detailed. Someone created like Obama. I saw like a bunch of crazy ones, dude. But
Perfect Squidward.
Holy shit! Holy shit! No. Chibi, I don't know how to put it in that much work, dude. I'm just gonna be like generic.
Short person, brown hair, glasses. Come on.
That's a lot of white guy. Get in there.
Mustache.
Mustache. But yeah, no, it's a weighty, it's kind of like a really realistic, grounded, weighty type game. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like there's like actual weight behind the actions
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I just don't know how people are gonna react to that.
Interesting. I'll
You
look
know?
at the trailer.
But yeah, I think me and Brad are probably gonna do like
That's fine.
a podcast on that.
Okay.
Chibi, last question. Have you played Helldivers 2?
So I haven't yet, but I really think it'd be something I'd like. Well, my issue is I've been playing Persona. I haven't beaten it yet.
Traitor. That's a traitor.
Bro,
kind
I
of
might
move there.
no. Listen, I'm poor. Okay, so my idea is I need to finish Persona first to get my money's worth, and then see if I have enough money to buy it. Brad, not everyone has.
Okay, you're gonna get mad at me. Chibi, do you have Game Pass?
Is it free on Game Pass?
Yeah. Okay. It's on. Persona 3 is on Game Pass.
Oh, Persona 3. I was like,
No, not Helldivers. Persona 3
hold up.
Remix on Game Pass. And I'm going to tell you this, and you're probably going to get really mad. The expansion pass for Persona 3 is like $30-ish. So that where you get episode Aegis, and then I think...
Yeah. Metas.
And then the other eventual DLC. On Game Pass, it's free. You get the expansion as long as you play it on Game Pass, which is why I played it on Game Pass.
Noted.
Yeah, so just heads up.
She did.
Listen. If you want me to gift you Helldivers 2, because
No.
me and Brad have
Well, if it's on
dragged
Game
people.
Pass,
people-
why? It's fine.
No,
If
it's not.
on
No,
Game Pass.
Helldivers 2 is not on Game Pass.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Persona 3 is on Game Pass.
Oh yeah. I knew that. They
Like,
meant Helldivers. I was like, what?
Me and Brad have dragged people to like level 20. We helped Jack
will-
out. We helped our buddy Will, Brandon,
Mhm.
we're currently working with.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah. So I mean, you want some help with people who have like almost 80 hours in the game? I have 80 hours. Like, let me know.
Like 75.
10-4.
And it'd be a
I
good
definitely
game.
want to play it. Like, it looks like something I would like.
It'd be a good
honestly.
game to play together.
Yeah.
Right. You know, to
When's
make
your,
con-
when's your birthday? When's your birthday?
When do you think my birthday?
You look like a
June,
September.
Ken was
Really don't
closer.
remember that. Oh yeah.
May,
July.
July. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can see that.
How dare
You're a-
your birthday
you're a
month be next to mine?
Sagittarius. That's-
Sagittarius.
I'm a Cancer.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. I didn't do it.
she said it. I just agreed.
Oh Lord.
Thank you guys for coming to Down the Rabbit Hole.
Bye.
What is she? She said I'm and then walked away.
She said she's a Cancer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna give her a birthday present. My bad.
I know. Cheers. You know. Sheesh. All right. So that is the Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm Ken. Chibi and Brad.
I'm GB.
Yeah, it's Chibi. And you know, next Pixelate Thoughts episode, Dragon's Dogma 2. Next episode for Down the Rabbit Hole is going to be Shangri-La
Shangri-La.
Frontier. Yes! And Jack will probably be here. So Brad can give him a talking to.
Stern talking to.
Thanks everybody.